Yes, we are live. Fantastic.
Welcome.
Welcome. Ciao, Edmond. Nice to see you again.
Awesome. Nice to see you. I'm excited to have this chat. Shall we do a little bit of an intro for everyone that might be listening to us for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe before introducing ourselves as a specific people, we should maybe start with what is this thing about? What is this video, this podcast about? As a starter. Oh, so what was the big idea?
Well, I think we've both have quite strong views on on I suppose like aspiration, luxury goods and the luxury hospitality industry. And then I suppose we're coming at this from two kind of like generations and two different viewpoints as well. Like I've come in from like very I like suppose like left field coming in through like memes, and then I'll let you speak towards like your time in the industry as well. But you have a much more established track record and an academic perspective as well. So I thought it'd be interesting for us to kind of like give the people a taste of a conversation between the two of us with quite diverse backgrounds, and then on the kind of the matters of the day, so to speak, or like the happenings of the week.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the point. I mean, as you say, yes, I'm the old one. First of all.
No, I'm actually the old one. I'm just like on a lot of GLP. I'm just on a lot of peptides.
Oh yes, by the way, we are going to talk about peptides. Very timely. But you are right. I mean, I think broadly speaking, it's a simplification. Of course, I come from a marketing background, marketing and creative direction. But more marketing than creative direction. You come from a world of creativity, of culture, internet culture, and I think at the end of the day, brands should sit kind of at the crossroads of these two things. So you have culture on one side, and you have to know how to carve your place in culture, or how to react to culture. And then you have marketing needs, marketing goals, blah 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 blah. So let's say the more boring stuff, and you have to put the two together. So, and this is really my it's a casual chat about the intersection of these two things. Honestly, whenever I mention the word intersection, and those things like at the crossroad of technology and creativity, or creativity and marketing,
the speed of.
Yeah, no, I always think of the meme about the Cybertruck by Tesla crashing into the wall, and then there is the meme. This is what the intersection of technology and creativity looks like. But hopefully we'll do better. So, and moving forward, the idea is that each week, or whenever we will have time to meet, we are going to cover five topics or 6 topics or whatever that somewhat piqued our interest, and again discuss them from these twin perspectives. So with this in mind, and having said this, I guess we can move to the first topic, which is something that you brought to the table, Edmond. It's this Stanza article about hotels and hospitality projects targeting what the lady calls the thousandaires. So maybe what I can do is first of all share the screen so that people can see what we are talking about. Let me see if I can find the right tab, which is always here.
While Simone is loading that up, I'll give a brief summary about like what the stanza is commenting on. So there's it, like typically in luxury hotels, at like when we call true luxury, they're talking about, I suppose, like the Hotel du Caps and like the Amands of the world. She mentions baseline like 2K plus like average daily rates. And so The comment here is like whether where we have this kind of like oversupply of like hotels that are about like 900,000, which is still like very expensive, of course, like a night, and there seems to be like kind of a bubble around that, and like what are the defining traits of like these hotels that are for thousandaires, like that are more for the aspirational consumer, and then will they continue to exist in a time when economic circumstances are becoming increasingly challenging? And so she refers to, say, on another publication, Uncorrelated, which suggests that like a lot of like basically like occupancy, office, multifamily, retail rents, occupancy hinge on general macroeconomics. And so whereas like luxury hotels are driven by like wealth creation, scarcity, status, and experience, so they're more insulated. So the question, I guess, at the end of it is like, what happens to these hotels that are what are these hotels that are targeting this thousandaire class? She doesn't mention any examples. So what are they? And like where are they going? So Simone, like what do you think are these hotels for thousandaires? Because I think we both have a lot of commentary on hotels.
Absolutely. First of all, we went into this expecting a kind of long form article, but honestly, it's just this. It's one very long bullet point, so there isn't much in terms of deep dive. But I think the point she's making. By the way, it's a she behind the newsletter, right? Or
yeah, she's an investor. She's like, I think she comes from a real estate background, if I remember correctly. She comes from a real estate like finance background, and then if I remember correctly, she's originally American and then moved to Milan, or yeah, she's in Milan. Yes,
she's here nearby. Yes, okay. Now, I like very much, and it was the first time I heard this definition, this quirky definition of thousandaires, which is usually it's simply another word for the aspirational class. Okay. And I think in a way she's addressing, she writes about the hospitality industry, so of course she has a focus on that, but I think in a way she's addressing a much larger issue that a lot of brands in the fashion space, for example, are also having. So when 90% of your target demographic is made of, again, the aspirational class, so people that are not truly rich, they have money, they have disposable income, but right now we are in this kind of perma crisis, which is about crisis, but it's of course also about the perception of a crisis. So these people, they are feeling the pinch. These people feel they have to be a bit more careful in terms of how they spend their money, and of course they are spending less. And so what she says basically is that businesses, not just hotel businesses, but businesses targeting this type of target, they are subject to the ebbs and flows of the economy. Okay, so when the economy goes up, of course, these people they feel rich, or maybe they are actually richer because of bonuses and such, and so they go spending some money on on shopping sprees, on vacations, on hotels, of course. Whereas right now, the moment we are right now, they are spending less, and so those businesses are being hit. Whereas on the other end of the spectrum, you have businesses like, she's not making names, but for example, we could probably think of Amman Resorts. So stuff that
the interesting thing about it is I'm thinking about hotels of that rate, like they like the band that she mentions, like by virtue of like what it is, it's like very like extremely luxury, like the Amman in Tokyo right now is like $3,000 a night, and then surprisingly, she mentions something that's like $900 a night, that is as like something for the aspirational class. But I would say like, even something like the Carlisle is like around her price point. So like my thing is, it's just like, if that is like, I feel like the aspirational class is like further down the ladder, if I'm being honest.
I think I mean, in a way, and this is also something we have seen in fashion, prices for hotels have been going up like crazy. They are out of control. So I was reading an article. I don't think it was here. It was maybe on the Business of Fashion or whatever, saying that nowadays for a hotel room, $4,000, so not 2,000, $4,000 is like the new normal. Of course, they were talking about the top end of the market, so they are talking about the places targeting the truly rich. And again, $900.
Oh, I guess it is like average daily rates, so like across like the spectrum of like the room classes.
Yeah. Sure. So including also the, let's say, the lower end of the options. But yeah, again, part of the reason why the aspirational class is being priced out is, okay, the crisis, so they feel they have less money to spend, and on the other hand, the prices that have gone up, and so you are excluding a portion of your target. I think on one hand, what she is describing is a kind of structural. I mean, she's basically describing two price segments. So in life, you can run the Marriott hotel chain, or you can run the Aman. And okay, it's hospitality. Both sides are hospitality, but it's two very different businesses. Okay, and in this case, she's focusing on stuff that is for the aspirational class, which is more volatile, for example. But again, that's kind of structural, aside from the issues we have right now, and stuff which is for the truly wealthy, which is more stable, because those people, they are not going, maybe they are going to buy one yacht less, but they are not but they are not going to to skimp on hotel rooms and
I'm curious to what she thinks is like, when she says certain operators have positioned themselves as luxury leaders, but they aren't able to deliver on the rates they charge, which is very fair. I think like even like something like the Waldorf Astoria, like recently, I can't remember like the exact reviews, but like, it wasn't the best experience for a particular guest. I mean, that always happens, but like I think at a certain level of like price point, you expect a certain level of service, and like when it's not being provided, you're just kind of like feeling like you're just giving money away for a status symbol, but you're not actually like receiving the benefit of like what you expect would be like top tier service. I'm curious like who those luxury leaders that she refers to are. The other thing I just want to note as well, so I said earlier that like, okay, so she does say the glut of supply coming sits in the tier or two below the 2K ADRs, right? Could you mind just scrolling down? I wonder if I've imagined that $900 like number. No, I didn't. Okay. Yeah.
No, it's here. Yeah, it's here.
Yeah.
The openings of mostly mediocre hotel price around or just below, 1,000 average daily rate. Yeah. Again, I think actually, I think what she's saying here applies to both segments, because in order to win, not just at the top end of the market, but also in let's say in the middle, or even in the lower end of the market, right now you have to be truly exceptional, because there is too much of everything. So consumers, clients have too many options. So if you are just doing a business exercise, so you are just putting together or stringing together a P&L some professionals from the industry, and you are putting together a hotel that has it ticks all the boxes, but that's about it. I mean, you're not going to fare very well. And this goes again for places that are targeting the aspirational class, and it goes for places that are targeting the truly wealthy that have seen everything. So how do you surprise them? How do you make yourself memorable and special? Um, Yes, there is the again, it's what in fashion circles is called the greedflation. The greedflation means that simultaneously you have increased the prices and you have lowered the quality, which in the case of fashion accessories, the product quality, here is the service.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, I guess at the top end, my hot take. So it's not a very, very formal or very structured advice, is that at the top end, you don't have to worry so much about the price. And she says so herself. But again, in order to stick around, in order to succeed, you have to be truly exceptional. And in that case, I mean exceptional in the literal sense. I mean, you have to go really beyond what can be imagined.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
in the lower end, you have to be careful about the price, because the price is a concern for that type of client right now. But at the same time, you shouldn't focus just on the price. You should focus on finding little services, finding little touches, or maybe not so little ones, that kind of differentiate you from again this cloud of generic premium mediocre hotels that we see.
Yeah, yeah, it's very true, very true. Like, I think, I mean, like you said, it's very much like, I think there's a factor of like the luxury consumer, even if they are very insulated from the economic changes, they don't want to be taken for a ride either. Like, no one
Oh yeah.
wants to receive crap service in the same way, like there is that like perception, like, oh, if you can't afford it, then it's like, then if you think it's too expensive, then it's not for you. But I don't think that's necessarily like always true. Like, you can afford something and still believe that you're being taken. Like, nobody wants to feel like they're being taken for a ride, in which case sometimes you
No,
are.
you are right. You are right. Yeah, but partially correcting what I was saying before. Yes, even at the top end, when in theory you don't have limits in terms of how much you can spend, you don't want to have your intelligence insulted. Yeah. So okay, I can afford. I can afford to pay this 10K or whatever, or 100K. It's not an issue. If I feel that you are selling me, just some premium mediocre stuff at an outrageous price, yes, then that's a big no. That's a big no.
Yeah. I guess
Yeah.
that answers the question then, is don't be premium mediocre, or else that's probably how you will like.
Never be premium. Premium mediocre is
Yeah.
is the
Either be
worst.
mediocre. Yeah. Either be mediocre if you want to be cheap, or be premium. Like, there's
Yeah.
no in between. That, I think it's a good segue to talk about like the Demna Gucci, because I feel like a lot of the same themes like have kind of like run through. So like, again, like we'll link this as well, but like I'm sure many of you have seen the Demna Gucci runway show with Gucci like in the last couple of weeks. And a lot of the collection was focused around replicating the Gucci customer as they exist in reality, rather than like this glamorous like vision of this Italian luxury that Gucci like art director Gucci campaigns would have you believe. Now it's like very like the crossbody bags, fake mink stopping in the middle of the runway to like check their phone. It reminds me a lot of like Exactitudes as well, which is this photographic collection. which has like a lot of different archetypes. And then I think Demna's always been very good at kind of taking culture and then doing like a caricature of it and then presenting it on the runway. So what do we feel like? Do we feel like it's brilliant, or do we feel like it's a piss take and it's the same thing as like, you know, again, are we insulting the Gucci consumer's intelligence?
Well, that's I have a lot of opinions on this. Well, first of all, I think it's a very difficult job. It's a very difficult job. So you have to respect the fact that I mean, the two of us, like many people, we are here, you know, spitting hot takes, and hopefully some of those hot takes are intelligent. But you know, when you are inside a company of that size, with all the politics, all the different and often clashing needs, all the stuff, the constraints that you are maybe inheriting from the past, it's not easy. It's not easy. It doesn't have an easy job. Having said this, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan for several reasons. There is something. I will start with a positive, which is a very, very small thing, very, very niche in a way. But I truly loved it. I loved this is the Gucci Instagram feed, in case it was not clear. But I love the work that the movement director did during the that for me was the most conceptual part. And you mentioned the guy, the rapper, stopping
Fake.
Yes, exactly. Checking the phone. That was, let's say, the more theatrical part. But even stuff like, let me see, these are stills, but I can show you, I guess, even this way of, you know, holding the bag and putting your hand like this. I mean, it's part of a very, very subtle and very, very intelligent form of word building. Even the way some models were strutting on, you know, as if they were coming out at 5 a.m. from an Eurotrash club night. Of course, you could feel the work of a very good movement director behind that. By the way, I think the movement director is one of the big ones. It's called Pat Boguslavski or something like that. I'm probably mispronouncing. You know, is one of the greats of the profession. So this is something I like very much. And again, it's very niche, very, very small, but it's worth mentioning. As for the rest, I'm not a fan, because for me, Demna is not moving forward. And what is doing at this point in time, at this point in history, to me personally feels a bit old. So when I'm saying that Demna is not moving forward, I mean that okay, it is no longer doing the oversized silhouette. Now everything has been shrunk, but this is not really such a huge change. It is still being Demna, is still being into this ironically ugly tone of voice in terms of editing, in terms of the design, in terms of styling, in terms of narrative, in terms of image making. It's this usual mix of you know, épater les bourgeois, shock marketing, subvert the system from within, which I think was quite novel and quite interesting when he first did it. Well, in Batman, but nobody outside of fashion really saw Batman, but in Balenciaga. I mean, now, honestly, I'm a bit fed up with it. So I mean, when you look when you look at the clothing and the styling, you can see it, but you can see it even this block he did just before the show. These posts, some of them are archival pictures, some of them are meant to be like photo dumps or something, and some of them are performative ugly AI slop, like this one, or this one that got commented a lot about the the Grand Theft Auto aesthetics. And again, this stuff is ironically ugly, but I think it's coming from him, more than coming from him, coming from Gucci. It's just performative, because I do get that young people, and not just young people, have this it's not even an aesthetic, it's a nonchalant way of posting. It's about raw images, it's about Canva graphics, whatever. But in that case, it's spontaneous. Here we are talking about a brand that has incredible resources, and they are doing this because they are trying to mimic something, not because it's truly what they are. It's truly what they feel. So just to close this point, if Demna had opened a Mid-Journey account and created some images himself, and then added I don't know, some snaps from his office in Milan or whatever, that is something that I would have understood. This is just a bunch of designers and art directors trying to recreate some vernacular that they don't really feel inside. That's my thinking.
I think there was something I did like about it, but I don't know if you could call it like, maybe it's like honesty, or whether it's the acceptance of the type of person that like wears Gucci, like through the fake mink, like through the fake mink like look, or like there was like one where like the men were like wearing like very skin tight. The skin tight,
it's here somewhere, like the Final Fantasy final boss. I saw it. Where is
it? I think it has an element of like acceptance of like this is who our customer is, and like we kind of like embrace them, which I think is like quite a different perspective, or maybe it's like a mockery of like it's like satirizing them, but either way, I feel like it does kind of like pave the way for something perhaps new, even if we don't see the full effect of it yet, because right now it's more of a reflection than like an evolution of that person. But somebody online, said, I saw this tweet that said, like, Demna is indicting modern masculinity by portraying the hypermasculine as sexless, the object of ridicule, and somewhat repulsive to women. I think, like, it's like, a bit like Andrew Tatey, but like, I think there was something like quite interesting about those pieces, like, those looks and those pieces. And like, again, like, like drawing that out, I feel like it kind of like put something in the open, and then something new can emerge from it.
No, I mean, there is this idea, which is probably true, because I mean, too many people are saying it, that Demna is always making, not just now but before in his career, this big social commentary, and what you're saying could be a way, to do a kind of social commentary. I'm not sure if it's really there, or if we are trying to see, because there is another quote that an Italian fashion journalist made, not in relation with Gucci, but it was I think a very intelligent one. He was commenting, I think, the previous round of fashion shows or fashion weeks, and he said something that stayed with me ever since. By the way, the guy is Angelo Flaccavento, so he's a very good journalist, and he said something like, "Famine makes the eyes go hungry." So we, as fashion commentators, I'm not a fashion commentator myself, but of course,
neither.
Is I mean, we are so starved for ideas. We are so starved for, truly exceptional and truly, boundary pushing ideas that maybe we are attaching meanings to stuff that doesn't have that much depth. And there is a word called pareidolia, which is when you look, for example, at the clouds and you see shapes in the clouds. Maybe this could be a case. I mean, I do get what you're saying, but Demna has always been fascinated by I would call it almost an Eurotrash aesthetic. Okay. And you can see, not in all looks, because this is a big brand, this is a commercial brand. So even on the catwalk, you have to, cater to different tastes. But when I look, yes, at this one, at this guy with the side bag, I know what was on the mood board. It's Italian Maranza. It's again, it's a certain type of thing. I'm not sure. First of all, on a very practical level, I'm not sure what the merchandising team will do with this. So the fashion show is meant to set the vision, but then okay, you're going to sell some of this, but mostly you're going to do separate collections that are the collections actually eating the shop floor, and those collections basically take the ideas from the main show, from the creative vision, and translate them into stuff that you can actually wear. Because let's remember that this stuff is incredibly expensive. So again, and Gucci is a brand targeting the aspirational class, mostly, not the truly wealthy. So you have to kind of provide an argument for buying them, for buying these items. I think this pipeline was very clear under Alessandro Michele, because there was Alessandro Michele with a very clear vision. And then there was another guy, of course, with entire teams behind, Mr. Venturini, that took that vision and translated it into, let's say, more commercial but still interesting pieces. And this is the exercise that somebody is probably doing or has been doing actually for a time in Gucci. It's a very I wouldn't want to be in the shoes of those guys. I mean, they have a challenging job.
It's funny, like how much Gucci cops a lot of flack for. I think every time someone makes it a comment about own that joke. Well, it's not a joke, but I think it's the misconception that only the aspirational class purchases luxury. I know that we both know that Gucci tackles the aspirational class, but I think the joke that only people without money, only poor people buy luxury to look wealthy, and it's always Gucci in that example. And I feel that's somewhat of this collection is an acceptance of that, and then
yes,
to be
some of this collection is kind of acknowledging that is the truth, and kind of trolling the whole concept. That could be it. Then I mean, two more things on this collection, and then we move forward. There was another joke that somebody made, but again, I'm not sure it was a joke, and I said, "No, imagine if Philip Line designed this collection." You know, because Philip Line has been doing not exactly this, but a variation of this. But the difference is that is not being ironic. He's doing it in earnest, and I mean, it's a brand that I will never be caught alive wearing, but but in a way, it's one of the most consistent fashion brands that I know of. And again, it's partly about being authentic. He lives like that. It's not a movie. It's not. It's not social commentary. It's not a mood board. This is who I am. This is how I live, and this is how I dress, and you should dress too. And the other thing is that people kept mentioning Tom Ford, and you know, as a reference for this. And I think that, I mean, if you want Tom Ford, you go to Tom Ford, you go to Heider Ackerman, who did a very, very good collection. And I don't really see Tom Ford here. I mean, I see that Tom Ford was about a certain elegance, it was about eroticism. This is something else. I mean, I think it was very lazy to keep on mentioning Tom Ford as a reference just because Tom Ford was there at the time. At the same time, this collection is referencing, but it was doing something different.
I think, like, you know, somebody said, oh, like, you know, what they mean when they say reference Tom Ford was just that it's sexy. It's like, just because it's sexy, they think it's not.
Yeah, but there are, I mean, there are many shades of sexy.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure this is the one that I would love to have a quote from or by Tom Ford on this collection, but I don't think we will ever get one. So I would be curious. Anyway, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes with this brand. I mean, there are a lot of today. There are a lot of people working there, so let's hope it works for them at least.
Okay, so next up, okay, do you want like Margiela folders?
Oh yeah, so yeah, we stick with fashion. Let's go to Margiela. Let's go to Margiela folders. Let me find maybe something to project. Let's see. I think I had the tab opened somewhere. Yeah, here. Okay. This is it, but maybe we can go back one. Yes. Okay, so for those who don't know it, Margiela Folders is, of course, an initiative by Maison Margiela, which is owned by Diesel, basically by Only the Brave right now. And they decided to make a portion of the archive visible to people, to external people. So they created this Maison Margiela folders project. So you're seeing the website in Italian, but that's not the point. But actually, the archive is not on a website. The archive is on Dropbox. So they did this cute thing, I would say, with they took the standard icon from Dropbox and added the 4 stitches, which have become the unofficial branding of Margiela. But then actually the real content, this is just like a landing page. The real content is on Dropbox, and it works like Dropbox. So you have folders, and inside the folders you have sometimes. So for example, let's go here. You have other folders, sometimes more than one, and then with the load times that we are also fond of, we are hopefully going to see some actual content. So you see some PDF documents, some images, some paper scans, whatever. Yeah, here it is. Yeah.
Great. I did a little bit of research on this. So this is part of a multi-pronged project that includes a runway show in Shanghai, a number of exhibitions across China, and an open to all digital archive, which is this this Dropbox folder.
Mhm.
And so he writes, so he was interviewed by Wallpaper Magazine, which I'm reading off on right now. And so he says, like he says, he talks about, okay, I really want people to wear Margiela. So this is Glenn Martin's. I want people to wear Margiela. I want my staff to wear it on the street. And even in the show, there's a bit of a set or hair and makeup at its core about reality. That to me, that's very close to Martin Margiela's founding principles. He was really creating clothes that were ready to wear. And he also said he wanted the show to be, the recent show to be democratic. And so drafting a local children's orchestra to provide soundtrack. And so this sort of, and so he writes further, he says that the Dropbox folders are a fresh way to experience the work of the Maison.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a very intelligent initiative or operation. I think it makes you were good to mention that it makes sense the moment it becomes let's say a through the line activation. So it's not just the Dropbox folders; it's also events, exhibitions, and such. I think what is very much in character, talking about Margiela, is this brutalism, or in this case, this digital brutalism. So they didn't make a fancy website. I mean, there is a lot of intelligence. There is a lot of of thinking and caring about the details. But at the end of the day, it's very, before we were talking about the performative shit posting. I think this is more real. I think this is more real. Sharing stuff the way the internal team might be doing. Okay, I'm not building a code cathedral, website or a digital experience. God forbid. I'm doing this very raw stuff. Also because it's a way to respect the content. So this is not about the design. This is about the actual pictures, the actual documents. This is what you should be paying attention to. So I think it's a very intelligent, very timely also operation. There is a collective fascination with archives. I think many brands, not just in the fashion space, because we keep talking about fashion, but of course I think the zeitgeist is moving beyond or past fashion right now. But even in other industries, I think showing where you come from, showing the foundations, showing the thinking behind what you are seeing today is very interesting to even to end clients, not just to insiders.
I am curious about the decision to host the program, like the programming in China, and I like, obviously it's like very up and coming. And I wonder, like, whether there was a specific, I'm trying to figure out whether there was a specific intention or like a, some sort of like perhaps like other reason why, China versus like, where Margiela is like based in Europe. Yeah.
Well, I might be wrong. I might be wrong, but I think it's simply down to commercial reasons, because I think China is a very strong market for Margiela. And so probably I'm not sure, to be honest, I'm not sure, but probably it was that was the reason, because you could do something in Antwerp. But of course, you have to bring everybody there, and China is probably where the money for them, at least, is right now. I'm not honestly familiar with the specifics of what they did was it in Shanghai or somewhere else?
It's in 4 cities, so it's hang on. So Shanghai, to start with, that's where the show was, and then it will 2 or 3 other cities. So in each will have a different focus. So it'll then go to Beijing, and so that one is called, that exhibition will be Anonymity: Our History of Masks, and then Chengdu for tabbies, tabby collectors. And then Shenzhen for, I'll butcher the Italian pronunciation, but like Bianchetto, atelier experience. And yes, that's it. So Shanghai, Beijing, Chengdu, and Shenzhen.
Yeah, I mean, it has the feel. I'm talking about the fact that it's in several cities. It has the feel of a market tour. So you are visiting all the tier ones. But I mean, there is nothing to be ashamed. At the end of the day, it's a business. So it's not like you have to pretend to be only about artistry. I would be, the reason why I was asking, I would be curious to see the local, let's say, execution, and to see how much, which is a broader topic, maybe for another episode, how much it is like the concept of a European agency transplanted to China, or if it is done, taught by local people. I don't know. Maybe there is some element of dialogue between the heritage of the Maison, which is of course the focus, and something in the local culture. I don't know. I'm honestly
Perhaps
fascinated.
Something. Yeah, I think this is something I can maybe find out while I'm in Hong Kong, and I think there'll probably be some, like, some on the ground intel that we can pick up around this activation. Okay, shall we move on to, I think, Magasin?
We can mention the eye touch thing.
Yeah.
So
Peptides.
let's see. Peptides, exactly. So let me see once again if I can. I'm really a boomer when it comes to managing video calls. Let's see if I can find the proper tab. Yes, it's here. It's just the announcement. In fact, it's not like we have much to show. So maybe just as a quick introduction for those not familiar, Laura Riley is, I think she was recently on Drawing Fits, by the way. She's she's a shopping shaman. That's how they call her. She's I think she's I don't remember the background. She's probably a former editor or whatever, but basically she has this very popular, very successful newsletter in certain corners of the internet called the Magasin. This is the logo, and it's basically a shopping newsletter. So it's a newsletter full of advice and tips in terms of what you should be buying this season, what's going on sale where, and of course it's full of affiliate links, because that's how you make money in the Substack economy. But this is not really the focus. The focus here is she recently announced, this is from the beginning of February, that she's going to launch soon a new vertical, so a new newsletter, I suppose. It's going to be called iTouch. And iTouch will be about beauty, but not really beauty in the sense of makeup or or even skincare. It's about stuff that is fringe, I would say, right now, but is entering the mainstream. So beauty from within. It's about looksmaxxing. It's about longevity plays. It's about biohacking. Even she mentions that. It's about Chinese peptides, which I sort of understand.
So popular. The
I sort of
deregulation of
understand that you're
peptides.
all the rage. I don't know. I'm too old for that. but I think it's a very we have to see what she will be doing. But I think it's a very intelligent move because. As I was mentioning before, I mean, the pendulum is moving away from fashion. So fashion suffers from overexposure, and people with money, and there are still plenty of them. They are looking increasingly for different categories where to splurge, and the body is one, apparently.
I mean, like fashion is inherently like I think there are gates to fashion, and it's it's a high barrier like hobby to have. I mean, of course, everyone wears clothes, but to kind of it already has like this kind of in-group, out-group feeling, and I think like for a lot of like the people that have the wealth at the top of the society, they don't actually like the tech oligarchy cares very little about clothes like beyond like their functionality. So I think like with them at the controlling kind of like the like having some like degree of control of the zeitgeist, they it's an effect of like their push for like longevity, and then I think it's kind of a K-shaped like a K-shaped effect. Well, not a K-shape, well, two-speed rather. It's like at the top you have like this longevity because like chasing because they want to live forever and preserve their power,
Yeah.
and then on the second speed, it's like people that want to preserve their youth either because they don't feel like they haven't been able to like enjoy their youth, or they want to stretch it for as long as possible so they still have a chance at perseverance or like survival.
Yeah. But what do you think? Because I think, I mean, I'm not an expert, of course, but some of these topics she mentions here in the opening of the launch post, like biohacking, for example, or looksmaxxing, I guess she refers to. Uh, I think it started out as very, very, very fringe movements, like Reddit subchannels, but not even that. I mean, even literally.
4chan.
Yeah, exactly.
4chan.
Yes, there is also that.
Yeah.
There is also a political dimension, and I think it's fascinating that a lady such as her, which you wouldn't associate with that scene, uh, is kind of it looks like validation to me. It's not this is not mainstream. I mean, this is still quite relatively niche. I mean, we are talking about Substack newsletters. We're not talking about the Super Bowl, so we have to be conscious of that. But still, I think it will be fascinating how she treats this type of topic. So she usually writes about Kate or about I don't know, about the row. And now she has to talk about, I don't know, clavicular. It's going to be an interesting clash.
I wonder if there will be is there a female clavicular?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is. I'm pretty sure because you know what? I will never find it right now. But there was a long interview with Clavicular on some online magazine, which I don't remember the title of. And basically, there was this cringe part where the interview was conducted over, I don't know, either the span of a day or multiple days. And at some point, Clavicular goes on a date with a girl. And the girl is a fan of Clavicular, of course, but she's also into this, look-maxing thing. I have to find the article for you because is almost off-put by this. Like this is for the boys. It's not for the ladies. I don't know. I don't know. I think whenever a fringe or a galaxy, in this case, of fringe subcultures get kind of adopted by the mainstream, or enter, even if they are not adopted, enter a near mainstream consciousness. It's interesting. It's a bit the dime square thing, you know.
It is, but I do think I think it is. You know, you mentioned it not being mainstream, but I think like there's a new Ryan Murphy show called The Beauty, which is kind of like The Substance, but you know, I think it really taps on like the same kind of themes. I think it is very topical right now, and I think, you know, with Clavicula, basically kind of almost like, you know, he's has like coverage by like the New York Times, I think GQ, the New York Times. It's hard to say that it's going away, especially when it seems like there are so many like services that and like companies that are like running on this, and like especially as like peptides get deregulated as well by the US government. And there's this, I feel like, you know, we're at the precipice of like it going, you know, I made fun of people injecting peptides around a breakfast table, but I feel like it might be one of those things that everyone starts doing very soon.
Yeah, and maybe Demna should do peptides.
Gucci peptides. That's
I think honestly, if I were one of the big conglomerates, and I were doing strategic planning, you know, not the kind you do in a corporation, not the agency variant, I would be questioning what kind of category consumption we should be entering. Beauty is obvious. I mean, it's been around for ages, but this is something more. And this whiff of you know, almost illegal of drug use could be very very Demna-like. I don't know. I think personally, and probably it's partly due to the fact that I'm not very familiar with the topic at large, but I'm quite fascinated with it. Ozempic was the gateway drug, maybe, because it's part of this broad conversation, and now we are seeing this. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. I'm curious. I'm excited for the next generation of, like, you know, design of clothes, design of body, design of face.
Yeah. But I mean, it was many years ago that Rick Owen said something to the extent of I'm not quoting. I don't remember the precise words, but he said something that at the end of the day, the ultimate accessory is the body. You should go to the gym.
Working on his modern couture, yeah, exactly.
So and this is a continuation of that idea. So I'm focusing on the body. I'm focusing on even in avant-garde way, maybe on the makeup or something which is beyond makeup, and the clothes become an afterthought. We'll see.
We'll see. So I think that about wraps us up for today. What would be your like one thought that you're gonna take away today?
My runaway takeaway for today. I think
I'll tell you mine. Like mine is much more simple. Mine is start injecting peptides.
Yeah, and maybe mine is okay. I should probably pitch peptides to Gucci and turn it into a commercial proposition. No, I think I'm not sure I have like a final insight. I think if I can maybe say one thing is that we should go back to having ideas. We should go back to, I mean, A lot of the stuff we've been discussing at the end of the day goes back to this. I mean, you need ideas, you need innovation, you need to try new things, because otherwise, because of the economy, because of the competition, because of the times we are in, you're simply going to have a conversation about price. I mean, if you are in the hotel industry, you have to find ways to become the hotel where everybody wants to spend the holiday. If you are a fashion brand right now, I mean, good luck with that to start with. But you probably have to rethink the whole business, the way you present, the way even what you make at the end of the day. Laura Riley, so a fashion shopping guru, moving into peptides is, I mean, she's differentiating. She's moving into something else, and it's a bit of a stretch. But even the Margiela Folders initiative, which is the only issue I have with archives, because I love them as a concept, even as a marketing tactic. But archives quite often remember us, if you analyze them from a certain light, just how things were more interesting back then.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess that is the thing, and it's all very like backwards looking, and maybe
Yes,
that's the thing. Just we need to
yes,
be more
that's the
forward.
challenge. You have to make them something that doesn't look like a museum, and something that doesn't look like purely a celebration of the past. But again, deep down, but for a very simple reason, because at the time they were not big corporations. They were, cottage industries led by crazy people. I mean, if you look at the Valentino documentary, I mean, that
Watch that. Yeah.
that was not a company like today. we mean a company to be. So there were, of course, disadvantages to that, but you had wild and unbridled creativity. So that was the plus. And again, when you look into the archives, I've been doing some work in this space. Sometimes you find the most common sentence I end up pronouncing, and other people as well, is this would never be done today. In the positive, meaning think if we could do something like this.
What a shame that is.
Yeah, it's the competition from the past. I mean, it's at the end of
Yeah.
the day, your past version is a competitor. So
I think maybe like the takeaway then is like the companies should always see themselves not as inspired by the past, but you should see your past as your competition.
yeah, and you can feel a very practical application of that thought when some companies refuse to do or to embrace the second-hand market. Because the second, in a way, if the customer is buying a bag that is already in the marketplace, I'm not making any money. I want to sell you the new bag. I want to sell you the revised version of an old bag, but not the one you can find on Vestiaire Collective or Depop or whatever. But this is a much broader and much bigger conversation.
Okay. Well, I think that's it from us.
Yeah, that's it from us.
Yeah,
I mean,
this week. Yeah, I think that's it from us. Like, I think we covered a lot of cool, interesting ground today. Yeah, we'll like link everything together. Like, we'll put out links for everything we spoke about. But yeah, hope this was a good, insightful conversation to listen to. Yeah, we'll do it again soon if it's a hit.
Yes, unless somebody decided to sue us, but I don't think so. We didn't say anything too terrible.
We'll be more. Yeah, if it flies under the radar, we'll be more incisive next time.
Absolutely. So, Edmond, thank you for this. Speak soon, I guess.
All right, chat soon.
Chat soon.